What's good, King Gonda? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again with another episode here on the channel. And today we're back with our brother NAKMEEZY, Mr. 21,000 views. He came back, did a great video with us the other day about why African Americans may not be doing so well in Africa. But today we're talking about another topic about why African Americans may have some baggage when it comes to the continent. But I'll let him introduce himself and what he does. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead and let them know what's up with you and your channel.
All right, thank you. This is me, NAKMEEZY, the truth teller. Not popular with any one circle. I keep it funky every single time. I try to keep it respectful as well, but I'm truth over feelings, or facts over feelings, truth over everything.
All right, and brother, I definitely thank you for coming back on. You know, you're a very talented brother and opinionated, but definitely talented in the way you can articulate the issues that we have with the African American community and sometimes with the global Pan-African community. We were talking the other day offline, and you were telling me that there could be a reason why some African Americans are choosing to go to the Tanzanias of the world, the Rwandas of the world, the Ugandas of the world, and not necessarily the Gambias or the Ghanas and the Senegals. Why do you think that could be the case?
I know personally brothers who said they have no interest in seeing slave castles, that they still feel a certain way due to African involvement in the slave trade. That is a statement right there that's going to have people's Twitter fingers going crazy. And there's some baggage there. You know, I'm still working through mine. It's taking me some time. I'm almost there. But it's a very complex, very painful history for some. When I went to Ghana, I purposely did not see any slave castles. I stayed away from anything that had something to do with slavery. And I just went out there to connect with my athletes. So, but yeah, it's a real thing. Baggage, bro.
Let me say this, and I've had this debate. I'm going to share this right now. I've had this debate with the African superstar offline.
Okay.
And I just like you, I've never been interested in going to Ghana to see slave castles for that same exact very reason that you stated. I've never publicly stated what you said.
Wow.
But I'm in 200, and then like I feel offended. Like they're trying to like market this and like trying to sell this to you. What do you think about that?
I think without hesitation, bro, it's a pain pimping campaign. It's a pain pimping campaign. I went after the year of the return, but I wasn't rocking with the year of the return, man. It was gimmicky. It was, it had an adverse effect on local Ghanaians. What I mean by that, they started charging exorbitant amounts for Airbnbs, other sort of things, taxis, and local Ghanaians are being negatively affected because prices were being inflated for this influx of Black American reconnection tourists, so to speak. So, that's why I didn't really rock with it, bro.
Let me talk about this, right? Because it's not that I wouldn't go to Ghana, but for you, like the same thing, the slave castle thing. Don't ask me. I'm not feeling. I might cuss you out. Like if you try to get me to go one of those things, for sure. But people will say, "Well, how do you have baggage, NAKMEEZY?" I mean, one of the arguments that I've heard from like one of my good buddies is Wody Maya. I've met him personally. He said in the defense, well, like you yourself were not in slavery. And other African Americans, like, how can you have? Not that he's saying how can you have baggage, but I've heard him talk about that. People will say, "Well, you sold us." Well, you're like, "Well, but you were not in slavery, so how do you have baggage if you were not directly involved?" My answer, I'm not directly involved, so you're not directly involved. They understand that obviously the situations have developed in America with blacks and experience racism, but how do you say you have baggage when you yourself were not involved in slavery?
Well, then I would ask Wody Maya. Well, I'm gonna ask you, what language did he say that in? Did he say it in English?
Yes.
All right, so if he said it in English, he's speaking the colonial tongue of people that colonized Ghana. So there's still some overlap there. Just like there is overlap in terms of the effects of slavery from like post-traumatic slave syndrome and things of that nature. Um, Now the slavery is more mental than it's mental and it's not physical anymore, but the scars are still there. Like my last name, every time I sign a last name, it reminds me of what my forefathers went through coming to America. You know what I'm saying? So when they say you personally weren't involved or enslaved, yeah, I wasn't, but I signed that slave name every day. I know my lineage all the way back to like three generations, and it's there. It's there. So when they say that to me, it sounds a lot like uh, when white people try to deny or minimize our experience as survivors of the transatlantic slave trade.
Let me ask you this. For me, I've never told anybody this, but because of, let's say, the whole situation with the slave castle thing, that whole situation with me made me say, well, you know what? Well, Ghana, I know people like it. That kind of pushed me a little bit more towards East Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that, because there are brothers and sisters who want to connect with Africa, but for whatever reason, West Africa is, maybe they've had some bad, that situation. And then obviously what it also seems like too, in America, the problems that a lot of African Americans may have tend to be with people that come from West Africa more so than anywhere else.
Right.
Why do you think that might be?
I mean, because we have a lineage to West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Before we were ADOS, we were Ghanaians and Nigerians and Sierra Leoneans, Liberians. So we gonna have these quarrels, so to speak. I really had no interest in East Africa because I know my people come from Central and West Africa. So that is the part where I was drawn to from a connection standpoint. But honestly, I went to Ghana to train boxing. I didn't go there to try to find myself because I'm proud of who I am as a Black American and I'm good where I am. But what I wanted to touch on as well was that while Ghana, in my opinion, has some of the more professional people who do the slave tours, you can tell that when they say it, they're not saying, how do I say this? They're saying it understanding that people have pain connected to that building and that place. But I've seen slave tours in Badagry, in other places on the net where these people are cracking jokes. One dude put a chain around someone's neck and made a mention to bling bling. So in defense of Ghana, I will say that when they do it, they keep it very professional and they understand. However, when you come outside of the slave castle, I've seen this too many times on video. Shout out to the K&K squad once again because they documented it, but I saw it even before they did. You have people trying to get you to put money into football teams, soccer teams, people trying to sell you every single thing. And that's disrespectful to me because it's not putting respect on the Black American and the diasporan, Caribbean, South American Holocaust. That's what the transatlantic slave trade is for us. You will never, ever see a bunch of people hawking goods outside of Auschwitz. You see what I'm saying? You would never, I don't even think that Jewish people have to pay to get in there. So another slap in the face is that not only would I have to pay to go in, but I pay a price that the locals don't pay. So when you call me back, talk about brother, is it really for this? You know what I'm saying? Right. And once you prepare yourself mentally, you could decide to go or not to go. I decided not to go.
Let me ask you this because, me and you both have had people criticize us for, being, anti-African. I don't even as much work I've tried to do on this platform to try to connect with the global Pan-African community. You still have some people that will detract and have those things to say. But I know that deep down you still look at West Africans, as our people. So do I. How do we, get past the baggage and say, you know what? We know that this has happened. How are you dealing with it to still connect with the global Pan-African community, even on social media, and to have conversations like you have on, the Negro Opinions channel with the, talking to other brothers from everywhere else? How are you able to get past that and still try to connect and move forward?
The second point that I want to make is that I am no longer a Pan-Africanist. I used to be. I was my grandfather was a Garveyite. I was raised on music like the Last Poets and things like that. But when I actually started intermingling with Africans in New York, I'm going to keep it 100. Okay. I saw that there was a disconnect, right? So now my thought process is just really one of recognizing that we're not the same people. We're not the same people anymore. And I have a video on my channel that's called Black Americans and Africans Are Not the Same. And this is not popular with Pan-Africans. And on the other side, with my own people, my Black Americans, ADOS, FBA, I get into hot water with them because some of them, the extremists, feel that I'm my leanings are too Pan-African. So just to make it very clear, I love Black people all over the world. I don't do passport checks like, well, okay, yeah, I'll rock with you, or are you FBA? You can stand. No, if you're Black, then I have love for you. But I have more love for my direct lineage, which is foundational Black Americans.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Internally, just to know, because for me, I take people on a per case basis. Like, if I meet people that are from, let's say, West Africa, especially when we're in Europe, because in Europe, which you live here,
right?
You're no longer a part of the African American community anymore.
Right.
Then you become a part of the Black community, and it might be like where you're at, Surinamese, it might be, Caribbean, it might be Ugandan. Everybody is, we're all coagulated in one community. With that mindset, how do you adapt now that you're, because we're no longer in America, but when you're here, you're like probably the only African American that's there.
I'm literally the only African American that I've met here. Okay. I'm sure that there's some students, but I'm 47, so I'm not really in any sort of student population. But look, I'm from Flatbush, Brooklyn. So if you go to certain parts of Flatbush, it's like being in the Caribbean. I've met people from Suriname in America. So it's not that hard of a jump. When you walk down Flatbush Avenue, you have Golden Crust, you have all these little roti shops and things of that nature. So as a Black American from New York City, you're already exposed to these things. So when I came here, it was literally nothing. It was no culture shock at all. So that's why I say I don't really look at other Black people as threats or, oh, you're not down with me. When I make that separation is when it comes to talks around reparations and politics that are and should be expressly for Black Americans who have a very specific experience in Black America.
I see. Let me ask you this then, because people that are listening to this channel, most people are going to prescribe to the Pan-African thought, not necessarily ADOS. I'm kind of I'm still ADOS, but I'm more Pan-African stronger in my leanings than I was ever before. Right. So let me ask you this: how do you how does a person get over the because you said you're almost there of getting over the baggage. How did you get there, and how did you process that?
Okay, so it was hard, man. I'm telling you, my barber who got my visa to Ghana, he kept trying to push, go to the slave castle, and I'm respectfully trying to tell this dude, like, homie, I don't want to go there. You know what I'm saying? So how did I get over, or how am I almost over the baggage? It's understanding that today's generation had nothing to do with what the generations in the past have done. And the people in the past were the kings and the chiefs that colluded with European powers. the people of today are suffering the effects on the continent of their forefathers' collusion. So they have to deal with that. And I have to understand that they're not the same people. But I will tell you this, and if there's any Africans listening, like I know they will because it's Kanganda, I hear too much when the shots are being thrown at Black Americans. They like to throw up the slave thing. Oh, well, we sold you guys for nuts, and the police are killing you and things of that. If you come at me with that, I'm gonna fire back 100%. And to avoid these things, I think that we should keep in mind our particular sets of struggles. And because we do share a lineage, before I became ADOS, that we should be handling each other with a little more respect. So the short answer to your question is that, I can't hold this generation responsible for the ills of the previous generation. So you're going to get this too. Well, how do you know that you're not from a tribe that got caught lacking the next day? You're right. I don't know, because we're an amalgamation of tribes. We're a mixture of tribes, which is exactly why we're not the same. If you go to some places, you be a Hausa, you be an Igbo, you be a Ga. We comprise of a lot of these things due to chattel slavery, and it's just a reality of it. So unfortunately, I think that we need to learn from the past so that we don't repeat them and go into these conversations understanding that we both groups essentially have been negatively affected by what happened in the past.
Okay. Well, man, this has been a very interesting conversation. Again, controversial, but I mean, I think that, and I welcome conversations from everybody. I have an interview on Friday with somebody that has the exact opposite opinion of you from Liberia. So I can't. You'll be. I know you'll be in the comments.
You should bring me on.
It's actually a female, actually, to be honest. So, but I'm glad that we're able to have. And one of the things I want to start to do, if we can, maybe like a pre-recorded debates. So it's not live, but like we're doing it right now. But I welcome all these people. I've seen some people that have a different opinion than this. I've heard them articulate it. I'm willing to talk to them also about it. I think these are good, healthy conversations, because one of the things that it does address is that, these are issues that are in the global Black community, whether one can consider themselves to be, in the Pan-African community or not. But at the same time, these discourses can be had, and still it can bring people together in a positive way with the respect. Because just because a person, disagrees doesn't mean that person doesn't want to work with the African community or doesn't want to work with the Black community. I think that what I see from you as a brother is that you actively want to work with the Black community globally, even though you have some unique opinions. You're still, you still follow the history. You still follow the channel to talk about this. You still want to interact and engage people. So you have a heart for the global Black community, and you have a concern.
I mean, not only do I have a concern, I get busy in these streets. I'm literally looking at 5 unchecked messages from a brother who was having some trouble because I sponsor fighters out in Ghana. I just sent them money for the fighters, and they wanted a copy of my passport and this and all kind of stuff because of just certain issues on the ground. So I do things on these streets for the African community, for the Black community in America, and also for the Black community here where I live now. That's why I don't do the whole passport checking when it comes to getting busy for our people. So that's one thing that, I get it from the Hoteps. I also get it from the hardcore ADOS. But at the end of the day, I'll ask them, what are you actually doing for our people? Not just talking. Like the history, I know that. But history without action is just wasted. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, go ahead and shout the channel out, brother. Let everybody know where they can find you, YouTube, what kind of content you're going to be producing? Okay,
so again, it's NAKMEEZY, all caps, no cap. And I keep it 100% raw. I don't ask people to subscribe. I don't ask people to like. I say, if you don't like it, hit the dislike and explain why you don't like. What is your viewpoint? Because my channel was about interaction. Well, I try to answer every single comment, But as my channel grows, it's getting harder to do. Let's just have the conversations. And if you want to have the debates, we can do that. I'm the all the smoke guy. Some people don't like my New York style, but it is what it is. So subscribe. No, check me out. And if you like it, subscribe. And if you don't like some of the content, dislike it. Keep it funky.
All right. And I do thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Always a good discussion. And guys, keep it real. Kingana forever. We out.